The MC BUD Building and Urban Design in Development equips students with the design skills necessary to tackle complex urban challenges. The program moves away from mainstream market-driven approaches to urban design and embraces critical urban theory alongside decolonial, southern and feminist approaches to spatial practice.
And this kind of architecture and urban design exists where you can actually listen to people, create projects that make an impact. I was doing a job at a big urban design firm and I did not enjoy it because I felt it was very detached from the people, from the community.
The approach we take to urban design is always through this idea of justice, social justice and spatial justice.
What it's taught me is how we can give back urban design and architecture to the people and see design as this kind of collective and co-produced process rather than something that's hegemonic or top-down.
I was working in Buenos Aires in a government-led urbanization process for an informal settlement. I felt uncomfortable in some power dynamics. I remember searching for programs and finding BUD had this decolonial and also feminist perspective on urban design.
It feels absurd to study urbanism without thinking about how the majority of the global urban lives and how the majority of the world live. So I think the element of thinking about the global south is really important to the program.
And I worked in built environment consultancy for a couple years in Hong Kong, and that was a very corporate environment, and that for me was harsh reality into how cold and rigid urban planning was on the field. What drew me to building and urban design and development was that I wanted to transition into design.
Much of our work is about unlearning urban design and undoing ways of knowing that reproduce patriarchal and oppressive structures.
I was really interested in the intersection between development and urban design.
BUD really drew me in terms of the ability to do design without coming from an architecture background.
At the core of the MC BUD, there is a practice-based approach.
Being able to implement a lot of theories about power, space, and knowledge and the production of space within this new city that I've arrived in made me feel a lot more grounded in taking action into improving the communities around me and being part of communities around me.
The practice module runs across 3 terms. It starts in London and it culminates in an overseas destination.
I was able to imagine very radical and creative ways and approaches to spatial transformation.
This year, we worked with housing social movements in São Paulo, Brazil.
We visited occupations in São Paulo city center that are led by Black women, and they represent these sort of reimaginations of urban transformation, and they are these alternative and radical possibilities.
Being able to go to Brazil, go to Sao Paulo and see everything that we have been studying come into light, and also interact with people in a non-extractive way was really empowering.
I think it was absolutely incredible to see all of these things that we've been theorizing about in real life and physically in buildings.
In our masters, we have a wide range of students coming from different backgrounds and geographies.
I feel very moved by the people that I've met here. There are so many people from different parts of the world who are motivated towards alleviating so many crises that are part of the urban fabric today.
I feel like I've gained a very critical perspective on these so-called participatory processes.
We have a very close network of alumni with which we continue to work as partners.
I was able to realize that there are so many different organizations that were already doing the work, and spatial justice is possible. I think realizing that change is possible from the grassroots, or even mediating between the top down and bottom up, is really impactful.
One of the greatest things that I found in the program was this community, and with some of my friends from the program and from other programs at TPU, we started this initiative and this collective that's called The City Otherwise. And yeah, basically now we've started working and putting into practice everything that we gained.
Attending the Building and Urban Design and Development course, it inspired me to co-found a charity where we do work in my home country, Lebanon. Our work started as soon as we finished the program, where we piloted a playground project that is co-designed with Syrian refugee children in Lebanon. We just believed in everything we've learned and believed that we can do an architecture that actually makes sense and that can generate an impact and leave a mark in communities.
My experience doing building urban design and development has been incredible. It's absolutely rewired my brain, and I think it's done this through a very southern pedagogy that teaches you how to see from the south and see from the margins.
After having enjoyed so much my year as a student, now having the opportunity to continue as teaching staff feels like such a privilege to being in contact with this beautiful community of people so committed to social justice, to spatial justice, to a decolonial and feminist approach to development in the global south, and also having the opportunity to accompany students in this beautiful journey.